like sucking, but I ain't gay.
Legit bad podcast.
Fuck those honkies.
Big ass.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
He really knows how to suck a wiener.
And welcome to another episode of Whiskey Beer and Conspiracy Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Big Country, as always, on the other end of May.
It's me, boy.
That's right. And Chris, say hello. Huh.
Not
How many times are we gonna have to fucking do this?
Man.
Chris. Guys, there's milk cartons, there's posters out there. If you've seen him, please let the hooligans know.
He's in. We put him up in all of the phone booths around.
He just lights up a room. He's the type of guy that just lights up a room.
He's so charismatic. He was funny.
He's funny. He's a good father.
He's just a hero.
He's just a hero to all of us. Fucking Chris. Anyways, he's fine. He's not missing.
We know where he is.
Yeah,
He's at
in
home.
trouble. He's in trouble.
He's at home, fucking doing the dishes.
Yeah.
While
Yes,
his wife
ma'am.
changes the oil in their car.
Yes, ma'am. I'll do what you told me. I'll do what
Okay.
you told me. Okay.
Okay.
We have some guests that we're going to bring on the show tonight, but I wanted to ask you real quick, because I know we've briefly talked about it, and obviously we're going to talk tonight with our guests about it. This cop it's been getting dicked down.
Dude.
Now, here's
First
the
of
thing.
all, let's go. Get into it.
It's going to sound so mean. But there was a day, if you listen to the tavern, there was a day in my life. There was a time in my life when I was a dirty dog.
Yeah. You would.
Right? I was dicking down area codes. Now, I did have standards. And everyone's standards is different. If you weren't an 8, 9, or a 10, I wasn't messing with you.
Yeah.
Now, my 8, 9, and 10 could be different from
Yeah.
somebody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This bitch is a step above said the sloth.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so like what you said about, the scores, they're different for everybody.
Okay.
8, 9, but I am willing to say that on anybody's scale, this girl is at best, this is fucking, you're taking her to a wedding and she's dressed to the nines.
Okay.
A 3 at best. And like on a work day, she's a solid 1. And it does sound It does sound
She's
like
like-
I'm picking on her, but yeah, dude. It was funny because I was talking to my buddy Kenny at work about it, right?
Uh-huh,
And he
uh-huh.
goes, because I said she looks like the blank character, like when you first load up a game.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, I'm gonna put hair. Oh, you haven't unlocked hair yet. Okay, I'm gonna put I'm gonna add lips. Oh nope, we haven't unlocked lips
You get
yet.
the base lips and the hair.
You get the base, and, and Kenny says, yeah, it's like God was like, cool, what kind of lips do you want? Too bad, you get fucking bird lips. You got bird lips. Okay, she's not attractive. She's not attractive.
not. If you're gonna throw away your career and possibly your
career.
marriage,
Dude,
you better be,
swinging for the fences.
yeah,
Okay.
like
You better be on the getting fucking paparazzi'd up with like
Mhm.
Sofia Vergara. Okay.
yeah, something like that, to where like even your wife in that situation would be like, oh fuck, damn, okay,
Bitch looks like olive oil
all right.
from fucking Popeye. And smoked what, like 8 guys' careers. 2 guys
Yeah.
got suspended. Dude,
Well,
do better, guys.
and that's what we said about his husband. He's like, I'm sticking by her side, and you're like, oh,
Super
he's a
cuck.
cuck. He's a beta cuck, and I was like, well,
Super cuck.
to be honest, if you're getting butt stuff from, an
Sid-
at best
Sid the
2,
Sloth. Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't leave it anyways. But before we bring in our guests, let's go ahead and play this clip. It's a short little video. You've seen it before, but it makes me laugh. I'm sure it'll make Joe, Jen, Ben, and Lene laugh as well. So let's go ahead and see it right now.
What? Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. Awaiting visual confirmation.
Oh,
Damn, I missed him.
So stupid.
That's awesome.
Legit bat, guys. Joe, Jen, Ben, and Lene, what's going on?
How's it going?
What's up, dude? Piss and love.
Love the clip. Thanks for sharing that. The people cheering. Have you guys ever seen the show Avenue 5 with Hugh Laurie? It's like kind of a satire-ish kind of Monty Python sci-fi show.
British
So
comedy.
funny. No, it's not. I mean, not everyone on it's British. There's a few British, and but
Okay.
it's not all British comedy. It's
British
kind of
leaning.
like-
I haven't
Anyway,
heard of
all
it.
I was going to say though is they have a fake set. They're doing it's like a yacht that they take around the solar system, and all of the rich people go on it, and a bunch of bad stuff happens. Anyway, the captain and all of the crew in the front are all fake, and nobody finds out until like almost the end of the first season. And that people cheering reminds me exactly of that. It's all people who are like actors. They're like, yeah, we thought,
Fucking
yes,
fake.
but
And
you know they didn't do shit.
You clap?
They're hired for sure by a casting agency. Like,
Yeah. They look like Geek
Great
Squad.
show.
members.
It is British adjacent, but it's not
Okay.
actually like full
British-ish.
Yeah.
British-ish. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of an old clip that I put together back when it came out, and I was like, this is so fucking dumb. that they released this to the public. Like, it was like an 8-bit video of them scrolling the wheel closer
Yes.
to the
See,
asteroid.
like, why would you be stoked on that? You know what I mean? Because it looks fake as shit. Like, I'd be like, dude, can we get a real video of? You know what I mean? There's
You know
there's
the
nothing
tech
to
that
be
they
happy
had in
about.
there. It's a pre-rendered background, and the guy's double clicking enhance. Enhance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Enhance.
accidentally clicked one too many times, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we have impact." All right.
Yeah.
You
I
can
like
take
how
a
it said
picture of your balls from space, but they can't get a clear enough shot of the one and only time so far that we know of that they've impacted.
Haha.
it.
Jokes on you. That probably was actually Buzz Aldrin's ball.
It's not how it works, guys. They can't just flip it around like that. You know what's really interesting
Turn the
about
camera
that?
around.
Just the other night, we were watching an old Disney movie. We watched Xenon,
Hell yeah.
Girl from
Yeah,
the 21st
Girl of the
Century.
21st Century.
Cetus Lapidus.
Uh-huh.
And I looked, my wife's like, she's so tired of my shit, right? But
shit.
I'm sitting there and I went, Cetus Lapidus, honey, did you happen to notice that the space shuttle that they're on, or the space station, looks just like the ISS without solar panels? And she was like, no, it doesn't. And I pulled it up. She's like, oh my God, yeah, same thing. It's
Maybe
probably
they
the same
rented it out to film, dude.
That's true.
That's
They're
how
gonna need
NASA's
that.
making
all
their
s-
money, you know?
They're all sketching it, and they're like, "Huh."
Well, I mean, the whole ISS is like one big green screen, so it wouldn't be
Mhm.
that hard out. $20 an
Yeah.
hour.
Fuck
What was
yeah.
that? The passing balls and stuff like that through arms and like everything else that you can tell is just
Oh,
green
yeah.
screen.
Water
out of it.
falling off of a table in space.
The wires.
Yeah. Wires breaking.
I think
Yeah.
that's why they probably
like, "Ooh."
stopped live
Yeah.
streaming. That's probably why they stopped live streaming.
Because
No,
people
it's
were
because-
catching on to it.
Yeah.
We're catching on all their shit.
We just destroy the technology and we'll never be able to do it again.
Yeah. That clip is one of my favorite, and I don't know if you guys saw that clip that Jim Brewer did when he was on Sam's show, when he was like, "We've lost the technology to go to the moon, but we're gonna go to Mars."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, that's
What
exactly
a-
what they're saying."
Well, the first time I saw that clip when he's like, "Yeah, well, we destroyed the technology." Like, dude, the calculators that kids have now are way more powerful than the operating system they had to power that. How did we lose the technology if it was so fucking simple? You know what I mean? It's
Girl,
impossible.
I don't care if you decided to throw away your bath toys. Like nobody cares. If you've seen the videos, nobody believes that's anything more than an origami aluminum fucking can.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we watched that. I sent Big Country a picture of them pushing like one of those little re-entry pods out of the back of
Mhm.
like a C-17.
And then
There it is.
they were
No
filming
boats
it,
are
and
allowed to be around. Yeah.
Every single time I look at the lunar lander module that they say was the thing that landed on the moon, it gets funnier every time because it's just so stupid. It looks like a 8-year-old made it in like art class or something.
Yeah, it's Wally, dude.
You'd think that even if they lost the technology, good. Make something better. Like we can for sure. You can do it.
Oh, we
dude.
did. It's called
It doesn't
Space
even
Nuts.
matter. You could just start from scratch right now and make something better. But
we can't. No,
we can't. Weird.
We can't get to the moon. We're gonna go farther though. Right, but I'm the crazy one. Okay.
NASA has their moon exhibit right next to their baking soda and vinegar volcanoes.
Well, and then the whole car thing, like if anybody hasn't seen the video of Elon Musk's car in space, it is
super
just
fake.
as retarded. I can make better CGI myself, and I don't even do that.
Yeah, I thought it was like a fucking
Figure it
Pepsi
out.
commercial or something. You know, it's very poorly done.
Yeah. What's so interesting about that is there was a clip that came out shortly after that, and I remember some coworkers of mine showing it to me because I was like, "Hey guys, you know the Earth's flat," and they're like, "Okay, dude." Well, then they showed this one of the afterburners of this ship that was in outer space or whatever. It was on fire and all that was burning, and they go, "What do you think about this one? Check it out." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Here's that same clip, but they zoomed in, and that was the one where the rat was running over the fucking afterburner, and they went, "Fuck," and I was like, "I can do this all day, guys. It's easy."
Next.
Yeah, next.
Well, and speaking of flat Earth, I had brought up on a previous podcast the Coriolis effect of shooting over a certain distance, where wherever the target is, the flight is so long of the bullet that by the time it hits the target, the Earth has rotated the target into a different position. So depending on if you're going with the rotation or against the rotation, those degrees differ, and then you have the range and drop and all that. We had been commenting about Moral Bob and wanting to know what his argument would be for it. And obviously we all agreed, unless we hear from somebody that has either had to use it or has been in those positions and says it's bullshit,
there's
not really any way to corroborate whether or not the Coriolis effect is legit. And Joe ended up getting a submission from a guy who has shot competition over 2 miles and was like, yeah, I've never had to fucking use that. I'm like, oh fuck.
I was like, no, he's like, we only adjust for wind and bullet drop. That's it.
Right.
And
you
2
use
miles,
the ballistics
I mean-
of the bullet, and then you do the math on how far that bullet can go, and then it's just dropping wind left and right, up and down.
I wanted to share something that I heard recently that I thought was super interesting. But before I do that, and then I wanted to ask all of you guys what your opinion on the Sid the Sloth cop situation was, and maybe I was being a little bit.
I was so
rude,
lost
but-
on that. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Nothing about it at all.
We'll get into it. We'll do some screen shares. But
Yay! Based on your guys' description in the intro, I don't know that I want to see this bitch.
and there's 2 women here in the episode tonight, and I'm not blowing smoke up your guys' skirts. You're both very attractive. This woman,
I don't think she's that, so I do know this story.
She's handsome at best.
She's handsome.
She's not a 0. Like I'd give her a 3. I don't know.
Boya said, yeah, 3.
Her face is
3's
oddly
fair.
shaped. She has a
It's
weird
definitely-
walnut-shaped head or something. Like I don't know. It's
Well,
her.
she
I don't
looks
even
so
know what's
alien.
happening.
Her face shape is alien.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
very-
She looks
like-
real alien.
Like when
What
you
a big
first
head.
got your Wii home, you know, when you go buy your Nintendo Wii and you're making your little me character. Like if
Yes.
you just left it
Very
blank
polygonal.
and put a ponytail on
I
it. Yeah.
remember that.
It's
That's
cartoonish.
it.
Yeah, she's
Well,
very cartoonish. And
when you
I'm not above. I have a very large head too, so call me an alien.
I mean, samesies, but
Yeah.
but the thing, like I was having this conversation. I told my wife, and I showed her the picture, and she's like the sweetest person. So she's like, she's not that. I mean, come on. I'm like, honey, not even after a fucking 30 rack.
It's one of those like bless your heart type things, though. You know what I mean?
But and then
we know what she means.
she tries to go because she was like, so you mean to tell me if you were at work and that girl was constantly saying that she was going to blow you right then and there, you'd say no? I go, yes, Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
100%.
Yeah.
We have
That's
this.
the difference between men and women. We have different thought processes with that stuff. Like we don't judge other chicks that way, the way that dudes do. And I'm not even judging the fact that you're judging.
If you
chicks.
knew
That's
that she
okay.
was sucking all the
Totally fine.
dicks around you, though, you probably would.
No, actually, Joe told me
Throw
this
it in
story
there.
last
Like, oh,
night, and I
look,
said,
she has a
"Why is
cold
this?
sore.
Why is this making headline news? Who cares? That's her personal business. If she wants to go be a hoe, let her be a hoe. Big deal. I don't think she
Yeah.
should have been fired for it."
No, that's great, but you can't be a hoe at the police department gym while you're on duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Maybe
on
round
Maybe
of
shit,
hoeing
and,
off of the clock.
I just think it's weird.
Yeah,
like
off the
it-
clock for sure.
it-
Yeah.
off the
why
clock, do
you
your
have to
thing.
be getting- Why are you trying to be getting dug out by like 20 dudes at the police force? Like,
Yeah, that you work with.
I didn't realize she was on the
Right.
clock. Honestly, that's my only problem with it, is that she was
Yeah.
on the clock. Other than that, who gives a fuck?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
more
like you're saying about
realistic.
oh, sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you got it.
More realistically, yeah, I don't care at all about who she bangs or how many times or how many at once, and maybe all 20. I don't give a fuck. Maybe
Just
they
start a
use their
website, get paid
nightsticks on
for
her.
it.
I don't fucking know. But my thing is that I'm like, yeah, off the clock, off the clock, and on the cock. That's totally fine. I don't have a problem with
Nice.
that at all.
You know, as they say,
Earlier,
your
Boya,
t-shirt.
you said she's handsome at best, and I swear to God, what came into my mind was she's hand job at best, and I'm like, ooh, that is a new level.
Hey,
Only after a
it's
30
still a
pack, though,
job.
too.
Yeah.
I see your blowy and I counter you with a hand job.
And I give you a
She's like,
ZJ.
I
ZJ.
accept. I accept. So
No, like the country was saying earlier, though, the husband is just how desperate is this dude? Because he's like, I stand by my wife. I'm like, fuck, dude. Like,
Dude.
What does he
Yeah,
look like?
here's-
I want to
here's-
know that. We need to
Oh,
see a
he's a
picture. of him.
Jedediah? You mean Jedediah?
Um,
Here's the issue that I have with the whole thing. It's not that she's blown a bunch of guys. It weirds me out that it's a bunch of guys she works with. The problem is she's a cop on duty doing it, and she's potentially destroying however many other relationships these other cops had. Yeah, that's their problem. It's not her fault that they're married. You know what I mean? But it blows my mind that those guys are willing to take a chance on their careers and their relationships to hook up with someone that looks like that.
yes.
yeah.
And
It
what-
must have
she
been
wasn't
worth
racist,
it.
though. So the best news is she
I'm
wasn't
sure she
racist.
does butt stuff.
She did not discriminate. There was a lot of
Oh no. She's like the
white.
UN. Yeah.
Oh.
Good for her. Yeah.
Oh,
Equity
man.
and equality. All
Well,
in one.
Okay, so Big Country, earlier you were like, my wife asked me, and I'm, no. And I'm all, there's this idea that's always perpetuated that it doesn't matter if they have 2 legs or 4 or whatever, and they say, I will blow you, that every guy on earth will just pull down their pants and go, huh. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, I'm
No,
sorry.
yeah.
But
we have
if it
standards.
looks like Sharknado in her mouth, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, as far as we know, her taco could have had some teeth on it too. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's going on.
It has
I mean,
something
what-
on it now for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Some of that
Whatever
5
she was
blend
doing, I
cheese.
mean,
she already has a cold sore.
they
That's
were
weird.
they kept coming back, you know? Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys watched or listened to the last tavern that we did that I put out that was free about the fact checker that we got a message from about a flat earth video.
Yeah.
I had that in
So-
the queue to listen to because I saw that in real time. You were sending it to me on, it was
Spoiler
on
alert.
Instagram, right? Yeah.
Okay, so no joke, we get a message from a fact checker that works for USA Today in December for a video that we reposted that was on someone's TikTok. And basically, that week that we posted this, it was all flat earth stuff for like a whole week. Almost started another fucking civil war over it. There was one post that we put up, and then people came out of the woodwork. It was crazy. But this video basically just talks about how there are NASA documents that were released about how they do testing for mathematics of linear flight paths, linear flight, whatever, over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Like they test. That's how they do their testing. This is
That's
a
an
NASA
old
document,
document, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
80. It was from 88. I think it was 88.
Yeah.
And she asked our opinion on it because she said, according to her research, that's just a generalization for a math equation that they use. And I was like, well, to be honest, if you're a fact checker, why are you asking my opinion? Like, I thought this was a discernment of facts here.
That's
but
what
anyways,
they do.
Yeah.
So this was in December. And then when I did that video, it was that night we got the alert. Hey, one of your, posts have been deemed inappropriate or whatever, or not factual. And I was like, what fucking post was that? Because we hadn't posted in a while. And it was that video. And I went, oh my God, she wrote an article. So I'll share the video because it's like 15 seconds long. And then I'll show you the article because it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. So here we go.
Think flat Earth is stupid, but NASA? They sure don't. Linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Number 2 in this paper, the rigid body equation of motion over a flat, non-rotating Earth. This is a good one. The program, while maintaining its fidelity for the most maneuvers and applications, point mass modeling, non-turbulent atmosphere, 0 side forces, and a non-rotating Earth. Here's another one. I wonder what point A is. The Earth is flat and non-rotating. You may think flat.
Okay. So that was the video that we posted. It's not even of us. We just reshared it, right? That's the one that got the fact check fucking whatever on it. So here is the article that she wrote with the fact check. Now, she did tag us in the article, but at the very end, she wrote, we reached out to the social media pages for comment, but then didn't put our comments in there. So I thought that was cute. But here we go. Check this out. So this is the article here. It says, fact check. NASA says Earth is a globe, uses flat and non-rotating model in equations. I shouldn't even have to fucking read it. But that's like I made the analogy when we originally were talking about this because we were talking about this document on somebody else's show. And I said, as an electrician, if I were to draw something up to install, I got a panel that or a disconnect. It needs fuses. And my boss is like, okay, did you install it? Yes, I did. Did you model it up correctly? Yes. Did you put the fuses in? No, I used bananas. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, well, it's just easier that way.
Yeah.
But in real life, that's not
it's
what
just
we use.
for general use, right?
So I'll go through it very quickly here with you guys. So a December 5th Instagram post, that's ours, shows a TikTok video in which a man reads and shows screenshots from various NASA reports that reference a flat, non-rotating Earth model. NASA documents admit the Earth is flat. When will people learn? The caption says. The original TikTok has been removed from the app. Shocker.
Why?
Check it out. R rating false. NASA has consistently said the Earth is a round, rotating globe, and the documents referenced here don't prove otherwise. The flat, non-rotating Earth model is a common technique used to generalize mathematical equations, experts said. Now, this is my favorite part because this is the 1988 report. Derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model. The report details development of the linear model of a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a non-rotating Earth. It's funny because she asked some NASA people or whatever these questions about it, and they were like, yeah, but that's just a generalization. It's flat and it rotates, and it rotates because you can see it every morning when the sun rises and sun sets. But this is my favorite part right here. Don Durston, an aerospace engineer at NASA's Ames Research Center, explained that derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model is also focused on short-range trajectory and motions. Quote, the authors are just developing a linear aircraft model using the forces, aircraft motions, and accelerations for an airplane in any given flight condition. Durston said about the paper, the authors don't care what the Earth is doing below the plane, and there is no need to include terms about Earth's rotation.
They do. They say it's flat and non-rotating.
Right.
Yeah.
But also
they don't care. How else are they going to get the mathematical equations? Oh, by the way, we're going to plug this in and try to figure this out, but we don't care about.
He says it would be an unnecessary complication to add terms in about the Earth's rotation status, but they do and say that it's not. If they
Yeah,
left it
right.
out completely and omitted it, that would prove his point. But that's
Mhm.
not what's happening.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. If that was their idea, then why would they put in a generalization that it's flat and non-rotating? Because you can do that equation without saying it's flat and non-rotating. You know what I mean? So those words were important, and that's why they put them there.
Well, wouldn't
Right.
it also disprove like what you were saying earlier, Ben, about Coriolis effect? They're like, oh, we don't have to take Coriolis effect into account, or there is no Coriolis effect that they have to take into account.
Well, and that's the thing is that whenever you start having, because of the advancement of technology and what it's capable of doing, you have to create new equations to be able to quantify how far and fast these things are traveling. So
Yeah.
obviously bullets are going to, they're going to travel a lot faster than planes. So you have to figure out what the differences are there. You have to come up with a new mathematical equation. They're also two completely different objects. They're going to be completely different in how they react to it. So you have to have one thing that's stable or a common denominator in both of those equations, and that is what is it traveling through and over. So whether it be the Earth or the atmosphere, those are going to remain constant. The variables are going to be the projectile and all of the things that go into that.
Speed, probably.
But
all that.
your common denominator is going to stay the same. So it doesn't really matter what the object is or what the speed is at or any of the other stuff that you learn in fucking algebra. It's the idea that the formula is going to be plugged in the exact same way, and you're just changing the numbers over the top of it.
Yeah.
I would say that would be the dependent variable would be the flat non-rotating Earth, and then the independent variables, which have to be manipulated in an experiment,
Correct.
would be the type of craft, the wind speed, the speed of
Right.
the aircraft, all that stuff.
Right.
I thought it was really interesting, and I was like, oh, this
Well-
dumb bitch just gave us a gold mine.
And I actually noticed on one of the things that he was pointing at, he misquoted, and it sucks that he did that because on one of the dark, bold parts, it actually said fixed non-rotating planet. And he had said flat non-rotating planet. And I was like, well, hold on a second. I get that.
Yeah.
And some of them, it did say flat, but on one of them, it just said fixed, which is again, they put it, like you said, they put it in there for a reason. It is part of the variable that has to remain for them to do the equation. So if that wasn't necessary because it's a rotating globe, well, then they wouldn't have needed to, put those adjectives in there.
Yeah.
Right.
The stupid thing too is like the way that science works, or so we're told it works, is that those things do fucking matter. Like if you're gonna shoot something to the moon, every little angle and equation kind of fucking matters.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
I mean, if we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour while zipping through the galaxy and we're just flying all these different directions, you'd probably want some really specific numbers so that you
Exactly.
can see where you're going.
Well,
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and and trying it over a flat, non-rotating plane wouldn't probably do you a whole lot of fucking good, would it? If you wanted to just get a general idea, that's great, but it doesn't really seem applicable in real life. If that's
Yeah.
what you're gonna
That
try.
would
No,
be the
it's
big issue.
both. Yeah, both of the statements they release, including the document, contradict each other. So why would they let that document stand and claim it's false? You know what I mean? Like it's not like they abolished that document; they're still using all that information.
Yeah,
Well,
I
and
mean,
that's
in the
the
article,
mental
it
yoga
said
that
it's true.
that's the mental yoga that the fucking fact checkers do too. Is they'll take the thing in question and be like, the paper says this, but it's really not.
Yeah.
The end.
They're like,
And
what
that's how
was
they
their
do it.
plan B when they made this? They're like, we'll just tell them. They're so dumb. We'll tell them it's a math equation later. And they're like, all right, what did they say for? All right, yeah, we tell them it's a math equation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that
And the
is
best
what
part was,
fact check
when
said.
will they ever learn? It's like, what?
Right.
First of all, I'm a fucking full grown adult. Okay. You don't fucking talk to me like that, lady. You know?
Goddamn. Well,
You have a job as a fact checker, and then she goes and asks Whiskey Beer Conspiracies about their research. He
Also,
sends me a screenshot of that, and I go, "What does this bitch want from us? We have so many dick jokes per show as a quota,
Yeah.
right? And she's asking us our opinion on science, like." Ask,
Why does
ask
anybody
a
care?
scientist.
Who
Yeah,
cares
exactly.
about if the earth is flat? Like, are you guys really like a detriment to society for putting this TikTok video up? Who fucking cares?
Apparently.
Why are they so scared about it? The fact that they're asking you your opinion is absolutely terrifying. It's like, oh, well, then we're definitely onto something, you dumb bitch. Go fact check someone else.
Yeah. And then she wrote an article about us.
A month. It took you a month to come up with that, lady?
Yeah. Clearly, she didn't ask any other podcasts about it.
I know. This is what I was actually going to bring up, which I thought was a very interesting theory that I recently heard of. And I want to hear from Joe, Jen, Ben, Lene. Boya, you go last because you're half black. But how many of you guys are at least
next month? I go first.
That's true. Not yet, though.
Yeah.
Every episode.
Every day.
Yeah, Boya has to do the intro. I'm like, all right, I'll sit in the back. Are you guys at very least willing to possibly entertain the idea that there's more land out there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We've entertained crazier shit. I love that idea.
Lene?
As in, I'm probably late to the whole topic, so I think everyone else has a fuller understanding of that question in general. So,
Okay. Boya.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
This was the craziest theory that I've heard, and I don't know why it got me really excited, made sense. But a coworker of mine was talking about it, flat Earth and stuff like that, and the moon, how we only see one face of the size of the moon, one face of the moon. It always looks the same size, right? And it's cyclical, right? It always stays in the same kind of rotation, the same pattern, and the planets do the same thing. Right. The planets are cyclical when we can see them. Sometimes we can see them with the naked eye. Obviously, a telescope helps. But he had heard this on a show and he pitched this idea to me and he goes, well, the moon, right, would be considered a satellite. It's not like an actual satellite, just
natural satellite.
A natural satellite. Yes. Thank you. And it's cyclical. And that is our light at night. Now, we can see it during the day most of the time because it's close to us.
Yeah.
Right? What if the planets are the moons to the other land?
Motherfucker.
That's what I said.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, okay. But would those be reflections off of firmament? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
because if that was the case, like it kind of contradicts your whole idea of a firmament can't travel through space and things like that.
Well, I would assume that even my conception of a firmament is vastly smaller than what it actually is.
Okay, that's
right?
fair.
So if there is other land past the ice wall, and I don't even know what what's the next closest planet?
Mars. Yeah.
Right? Perhaps Mars is the moon, or even I don't know their sun on the fucking the Iron Republic or whatever. I don't know. the
Atlantis.
Sure.
Yeah,
Mars is Atlantis's moon, and sometimes we can see it, sometimes we can't. Depends on where it's at and its pattern. Right? And then sometimes we see Saturn, and Saturn is the moon of fucking I don't know.
Oh, I understand what you're saying now. I understand. Okay, I understand what you're saying.
But they're still in our firmament.
The only reason I mentioned the reflection thing was because I was watching this video from this dude on YouTube. He goes by Night God, and he does a ton of conspiracy videos. And he did one where it was a photo he had taken. He had taken a photo just of the sky, some clouds and shit, but there was like this weird glare. Could be something from his camera, I don't know, but he brought up an interesting question. And when he was looking at the glare, he brings up that realm map. Big Country, I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, it'll have, Earth realm, and then it has all these other little dots around it, and it's like, Asgard, like mythical Greece and places like that. And then he brought up the reflection, and it looked very similar. And he said, I wonder if this is a reflection that I caught off of the firmament. So interesting stuff to think about.
That's really interesting.
That's cool. I've never heard that before. I would be concerned about whichever land had Pluto for their moon, because we do not accept that anymore. So they're fucking
Right.
toast.
That's a good point.
I don't know
Yeah.
what
Pluto even
Yeah.
exists.
You know what? Fuck those guys.
Did we piss them off?
Or maybe they're the best. Maybe they don't want us to even talk to those guys because they already figured it out. They're like,
Yeah,
fuck
right.
this. We're gonna
That's-
find everybody.
Bad influence.
That's
Like,
exactly
"Look,
what I was
no."
gonna say. Is I was gonna say, like, you know that they got some fucking message from the people who has Pluto as their moon. They're like, we're gonna fucking destroy you. We don't want to be a part of your shit. And the Earth is like, okay, we're gonna take them out. Yep, we don't want to get
Yeah.
destroyed. All right.
Scrap Pluto, please.
I think the idea of other land masses in a planetary construction is interesting. But I'm still stuck on the idea of what you alluded to with the ice wall of
Mhm.
I know that the guy who posted those documentary videos that we've talked about before, he followed it up in this last year with 5 parts, and in the 5th part took back a lot of what he said in that first video.
Mhm.
I
But
saw that.
yeah, and it mainly had to do with actually one of the things that she called horse shit on when the first documentary part came out, and that was how fast these buildings were constructed. Now, although I don't think that a lot of that was relayed to us correctly, like the World's Fair, the glass palace that they used, how it was just like built and then torn down and then built somewhere else, and they didn't even have a glass press or anything like
Yeah,
that.
they moved it.
Yeah.
They moved it.
But I like his idea on the idea where when you're talking about 12 numbers on a clock, 12 zodiacs, and every 2400 years it has fully shifted into a new zodiac across the part of the earth, whereas the ice wall is melting, it's freezing at the other end and slowly moving around a larger plane than what we are told. I like that idea, especially with what he did with what you guys were talking about the moon and it being much like an old school photograph where when it goes through the phosphorus, it creates a contrast, and then that's what burns onto the canvas is just light bouncing back and forth. And then if you take the original map of flat earth and you overlay it onto the moon's one picture that we always see, it matches perfectly. I like all of that kind of conspiracy and thought. Is the idea that in 2400 years we'll be basically eradicated, if not moved, to a completely different part of what we would consider our round or disc part of a larger disc. I like that idea. I would be interested, especially with the fact that, what was it, 1951, when like 38 countries all agreed to protect Antarctica, and we've never questioned it.
Never went back. Yeah.
One
I'm like,
the whole world has agreed on for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
Without question. Like nobody's gone,
Exactly.
why the fuck are we protecting this? I wasn't even born yet.
Right.
Like, let's go find the fuck out what's over there.
Well, they had, you have Admiral Byrd's descriptions of what's beyond the ice wall. And it's not like this guy was a kook and then, said some weird shit. Like he was decorated in the military.
He's the youngest admiral ever.
And then they discredited him.
And exactly.
And then
So once he, flies over the ice wall and just within miles of the edge to inland, there's green. He said he saw large, almost prehistoric looking creatures. All kinds of life, lakes, rivers, all that stuff. And then they said he's crazy. You know what I mean? So it's strange that they would somebody who they considered to be a hero all of a sudden throw him under the bus, say that shit's fake, and then all of a sudden there's a world treaty and nobody is allowed to explore unless they have special permission and they can only go certain distances, anything like that.
John Kerry.
Yeah.
You know what, Ben, what you were just talking about, I honestly truly believe, I think that's what that movie Snowpiercer was about.
Oh, yeah.
Other than it just being like an allegory for the elite classes and then the middle classes in the middle of the train, right? I think that train, I mean, I this could be way off, but I think the train is looping around the earth on the ice wall and they're waiting for it to thaw so they can go past it. But they're constantly in this motion and they're just waiting because where we used to live, where we are now, where they used to live, is too cold. So they're trying to get past the ice wall, but they're waiting for more of it to do. I think that's what it's about. I don't know. I could be wrong though.
How did they build all those tracks in the first place?
Chinese people.
Of course.
You guys ready for
that-
this?
That was Sacramento. Yeah,
You
go
guys
ahead.
ready for this? Here we go.
Oh fuck. Oh god.
Hell yeah. She's got fucking real doll hair. Look at that.
Kind of looks like a chipmunk.
I was gonna say
Like
it's
a-
like Mark Zuckerberg and a
She-
beaver had a
that's-
baby.
She looks very young. I mean,
What kind
Yeah,
of
there's something
charges
weird.
were like? Wait, was she?
There's no
sleeping
charge.
with
She wasn't
inmates
arrested.
or
No. She was sleeping with other officers.
coworkers? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, okay.
I
she was
bet
more like
she
fired
was.
for insubordination or something. Like she was breaking company policy. Like no fucking on the clock, ma'am. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, get that guy's dick out of your mouth while you're on the clock.
Both of them. It says oral sex with 2 officers, so don't forget the other guy's dick. I feel like he'd be left out.
That's true.
Um,
The steamy
Those are
shenanigans.
Ooh, steamy shenanigans.
Let's see.
Brag
Uh,
about this
I
one
read
fitness
I read an
genital.
article. I read an article about this silly little bitch right here.
Could she,
But it
like,
was from
kill
like
people
some
for
newspaper in
pedophilia
Pakistan,
charges?
and it gave all of like the dirty details. Like, all these other websites are like, the graphic details will not be discussed here. Well, Pakistan didn't give a shit. And
Well,
she was
Yeah, they throw people
she
off buildings there.
she had like a sergeant or something that was this black dude, and she was telling all the other guys how his dick was way bigger than theirs. And
He's like,
then
no, it's not.
yeah, she was like getting topless at functions where there was like kids and families around, and she's like sloppy drunk. Yeah. And then while they're on duty, they would meet up at different like maybe one of their houses and shit, and just all of them smashed together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody else notice that she has clearly discarded her fork and is just mandling?
Yes. I was just gonna say,
food?
eating fucking lasagna with her hands.
Well, you
Come
have
on.
to have lips. You have to have lips to pull the food off of the fork. So
See, so
She's-
to the ladies here, Lene and Jen, am I being rude? Because she looks like a goddamn shaved bird.
Of course you are, but I
I
love
don't-
it.
I don't
looks
think she's
12 years
unattractive.
old.
I actually-
That's a
she looks very
pedophilia
young.
thing right there. That's not okay.
For sure. I agree, but I said
No.
the same thing to Joe. I looked at a picture of her, and while we were literally in the waiting room while you're doing your intro, I said, just like your wife, Big Country, I said, she's not that bad. Like, she's okay. She looks pretty. She's fine, but I'm not a dude, and I'm not thinking of
yeah,
smashing
that's
my dick
fair.
in
That's
this.
fair.
Does
all
she
day long.
not look like she's
that's
still in
okay.
7th grade though?
Yeah.
That's my hang up.
Sure.
maybe
Sure,
that's
sure, I-
why
That's
the
what's
ladies
fucked
think
up
that
and
she's
creepy about
cute
that.
and pretty, because when you
Okay.
see her, she reminds you of a little girl. We full know well that she's an adult.
She's
and
barely
adults
hit
aren't
puberty
supposed
from
to
that
look
face.
like that.
Like that's not
Quality.
Adults aren't supposed to look like that.
Mm-mm.
You know that
No,
I mean,
you're not.
you know that her handcuffs are the pink fuzzy ones, and she's
Right.
probably got one of those fucking cap guns. She's
Yeah.
like, hands up, and everybody's like,
Hands up.
okay.
Like Jen and I look older than her, and that does not happen often.
Well, and she's ruined too, because now everybody that she tries to stop and arrest, they're gonna be like, "Oh, now some fun for me too."
Yeah.
No, she's
Bitch,
fired.
don't touch
oh,
me.
she's not
Yeah.
going to be a cop again unless
I
she
know,
moves
she's
really
not.
far
Pull up,
away and they
Big
haven't read
Country.
the
Yeah.
She could have been used
Pull up
very
a
well
picture
as
of
bait in
Jedediah.
a certain, section.
Oh, is
See,
this the
I think-
husband?
Special victims
so.
unit. Like she would have been prime in
See.
that. Just saying.
What is her name? Something Hall.
Megan?
Megan Hall.
Megan Hall, and it's
H-A-N.
spelled like
Spelled
Megan.
the
Like
most
God.
pretentious way that you can. Maegan.
You don't know whether to say Megan or Megan or Megan or
You say,
Fucking
ugh.
My lord. Where's
Megan
this guy's
Blowjob
photo?
Hall.
Oh god, this is a worse photograph of her, dude. That's so
Aw.
gross.
Oh, let's see it.
It's so
Aw.
gross.
Gotta
Hit
be
me with
God
it.
bless you, women. That you are you have such sweet hearts. Because fuck that, dude. That's so gross.
See, my wife said the opposite. She went, ugh.
Let's see.
Golly.
Oh, okay.
And look at that smile. Look at that smile.
Like down. I know it's in Tennessee, but fucking Christ.
Again,
oh, don't
that-
zoom in.
That's under 16 looking.
Oh boy.
Where's
let's see.
Jedediah, dude?
There he is.
There he
He is
is.
He is
And
filling
he's-
a very specific part of their
Yeah.
fantasies.
Why does he
That's
look
not
like her?
okay. Like if they're willing
Got
to
Lego
fuck
man
her,
head.
maybe they
He doesn't
should
have
not be
any
on the
fucking
force.
ears.
He looks like, yeah, he does. He looks like a Lego guy with one of the plastic hair pieces that you pop on the top.
His angry face
What
is on the
that guy
backside of
Harry
his head.
Potter who plays like the rat?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
She kind of looks
They're
like
both
that a little
aliens.
bit in that
Fucking
picture.
worm tail.
Hold on, there's more. Go down.
Something. I don't know.
Go down.
A turtle with no shell.
Yeah, like
There's
this. Was
no
just
way that
before
she won a
got-
beauty pageant.
No,
I'm
look
sorry.
how
There's no
young
fucking
she
way.
is in that.
Get that fucking
is
sash off you.
Maybe that's her birthday. That was for like her
Yeah.
No,
16th
that's
birthday.
very
Yeah.
creepy. No,
I actually
very
feel
creepy.
really bad how hard we're shitting on her, and then at the same time,
She's
I
alright.
don't care.
She's
She's all right.
She's probably into that shit anyways. Look at that. Well, she's
Oh.
done. She
likes
they
the
blew
dark
them.
skin.
She's
Man.
done.
Talk about kicking fucking doors in. These guys. She's a rat, dude.
Yeah, you
All
know that he
kinds of
brought his
mean
canine with
things
some
are
peanut
going
butter.
through
Like,
here.
Yeah.
Dude, who took that photo?
Right?
Like, was there like a PI on this case? or
No, I
something?
bet you anything. I bet you anything. And I
Hey,
had
don't
this
take that.
discussion with
Oh,
a coworker
hmm.
that she
swallow
probably
was
had a
bad.
dude that she was banging on the police department that was like truly into her, you know, and was
What, you
like,
talking about this fucking Cub Scout? Like,
This guy's got for
Like the
sure
Ranger
bodies
guys that
buried.
go on the
somewhere.
that actually
Ranger
makes
trails.
sense. He's a Cub Scout. She's a minor. It's yeah.
yeah, a little guy from Up grew up. Deck the hall. Yeah, her halls are getting decked. Don't you worry about that.
She does not look of age in any of those photos.
Maybe
That's
she's-
insane.
Maybe she's
I
saving
assure you
some
she is.
children from
How
being
old is
molested
she?
by these cops.
Oh, no,
That
Seriously.
guy, that guy
tattoo.
probably dicked her down too.
Hell yeah.
Cops may have fucked some
Hell yeah.
chicks though, and they fucked her instead. So they
That's-
could have been some kids. So maybe she saved some lives here. He saved some
No,
ruined lives
no.
being available, and the cops just banged her instead. And they're like, "I really want to fuck a little kid, but instead, I'm gonna fuck this little kid-looking adult."
That is very glass half.
I know,
That's
I'm
why
just
she would be good for the
Yeah.
special victims unit. She could
You-
rein them all in.
I think the
Yeah,
only
well-
kids. the
Well,
only
I think
kids
her
that she
career's
saved-
over.
I think the only kids that she saved were the other officers from having them.
Jen, I gotta
Yeah,
give
the
you.
kids that she swallowed.
I gotta give you a special audio for that. That Jen comment. This is what you get because that was for you. That's what it is for Jen. That's what that comment is. Right there. Great job, Jen.
All right, that's
I
awful.
love it. I love it. Well done. Okay, enough. Enough.
Now that we've done
guys.
47 minutes of shitting on a cop, let's
right.
move on.
We talked about flat Earth a little bit. What do you guys?
Chris isn't here, so we got to shit on some cop.
Hey.
Hi-oh.
Should send a picture of that chick to Chris. Be like, do you know her? Do you know her?
Ask your wife.
Yeah.
No, he'll get in trouble again.
Babe,
Um,
it definitely says Vern County.
Swear to God, I wasn't even in Tennessee.
She probably would be like, "Who's this bitch?" She's like, "I don't fucking know.
Dude, that
They
makes
just
all
wrote-
the sense in the world.
I don't know. They just wrote an article about her." Right?
She's a bitch.
From
No, that's-
Tennessee. That's
Yeah,
like
she's-
you're talking about a 10 there.
I didn't think we had to because I thought her teeth did. So
Oh.
Well,
There was, you know what? There was a photo that I saw to. Maybe I didn't send it to Boya, but I saw picture that was posted. I think it was on an Instagram page called like Viking women or Viking chicks or something. It's basically just a photograph of like really athletic women with like banging bodies that do
Sounds like OnlyFans.
sports, right?
CrossFit.
Or whatever, or just like wearing
it's
yoga pants or
OnlyFans
whatever.
with axes.
And there was this girl who was being sworn in somewhere as a police officer, and I mean, smoke show. And they showed her in like a dress, and I was like, see, now if this chick was like,
Yeah.
she dicked down the entire department, I'm like, I get it.
Right?
Bad move, but I get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't condone it, but I understand.
Yeah.
And also, she's probably going to get away with it because she's hot. Like,
Yeah.
let's be honest, the
No
ugly
one's-
one
no
was like,
one's-
"Oh, you got found out. You got nothing going on for you. All right, bye."
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
had this
Busted.
conversation the other day where I was like, isn't that weird the way that happens? Where if
Yeah.
it happens to a dude, you're probably never going to fucking hear about it, first of all. And if you do hear about it, it's like, dude, check out this.
High five.
Happens to the chick,
Yeah.
it's automatic, like you're going to jail and shit. Like, it's
Well,
crazy.
and that's so. In all serious though, all serious. Take two. In all
Okay,
seriousness,
work it
though, no, that's actually like a bigger social issue that I never did have a problem with. Is that
Yeah.
it's like guys go around and they do it, oh, high five, and it's like, oh, cool, bro. And then a girl does it, and it's like, salute. And it's like, wait, why? Like, hold on a second. Like, guys of all people are all about comparison.
Yeah, that guy.
By far.
This guy. Right
Yeah,
there.
Watch out for that one.
There, that guy. He's
But
fucking.
girls will go
Before
out.
before I met
and
my
do
wife,
it.
I was a hoe. Yeah.
Yeah, and then girls go out and do it, and they get shit on. I'm like,
gross.
You know what it is?
Correct.
You know what it is? It's because guys will be in a group and be like, oh, you know what's her name? Yeah, I hooked up with her. And then another guy will be like, yeah, me too.
the whole arms go raising all the way back.
Yeah, right. And girls are better at just like not putting a name to the face when it comes to discuss, unless it's amongst other girls, right? Because they can keep each other's secret like a motherfucker. Guys can't wait to get it out.
Yes,
so
that is so
that's-
true.
We're like, everyone wants to know who's their Eskimo brother, so they start sharing
Did I tell you that,
stories.
Boya?
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a tunnel, buddy?
Do you remember Trent? Buddy of mine from the Navy.
Yeah.
He was at my going away part. Yeah, we're Eskimo brothers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that
There
was
you go,
cool.
dude.
Well, you know,
You guys should buy each other snow globes.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it happens. If you're ever a single bachelor living with your best friend and you throw a lot of parties, you're gonna fuck the same chick at some point. Like,
Speaking
if not
from
at the same
experience, much.
time. I didn't say that.
odds are in
That's
your
all.
favor. May the odds forever be in our favor.
Eiffel Tower, the whole thing, man. Like,
Chinese finger trap, you know.
yeah, fucking faggot. Okay, so the funny part is fair. The funny part is about that too is that the whole like difference in like guys sleeping with everybody and being vocal about it and it being accepted, and then girls do it and it's like, oh, boo. That actually goes hand in hand with what we were talking about earlier about you showing your wife, her saying, okay, if she wouldn't, you really saying that if she offered to blow you, you wouldn't? No.
Yeah.
Those are both hand in hand. It's the idea that it's like, okay, guys are dogs.
Yeah.
We'll fuck anything that walks. That is not fucking true, but
Right.
it is a stereotype that we will use to our advantage when we do decide to make bad decisions.
Yeah.
But for the most part, otherwise, it's like, I'm sorry, but there's a lot that if I was approached, I would just have to know, like on so many levels. Like just going off of your presentation, let's not even talk about your physical aspects. Just going off of your presentation, like that fucking shirt. I'm sorry. No, I can't do that. It's all wrong. Everything going on right
Hard
here,
pass.
that happiness is wrong.
Actually, soft
I
pass.
feel like girls do
Soft
the same
pass, yeah.
thing though.
They
and
do.
Girls get away with different things, and
Absolutely.
guys get away with different things.
Yeah.
But they'll
Absolutely.
still wake up and be like, "Fuck, I was drunk. My bad. I'm just not gonna tell you anymore." And guys do the same shit, and then later we'll tell our friends like, "Wow, I had way too much to drink last night." And if they get razzed for it, they're like, "Whatever, I was drunk. Who cares? Like, I'll just act stupid, and that's fine too." Like, whatever. And guys can be like, "Whatever, I was just really fucking." It's just two different things. They're not great, either one, but I think it's pretty equal.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and blame last night on my friend Johnny Walker. He came on a little.
Yeah, but
strong.
both guys can do it super easily.
Well, you
Well,
know
and the
what?
funny- Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I've noticed that women are the one of the two sexes, right? There's only two choices.
There are two, yes.
That are more willing to date a man that they're not initially physically attracted to if they can fill in the other categories, right? Sense of humor, kindness,
Money.
you know, money helps. Money will bridge a big gap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Rarely.
A lot of shit for a
Being
price.
funny and confident bridges a huge gap, actually.
Absolutely.
And
It's the only reason
but
I got a wife.
does, for
I was gonna say,
sure. Being funny and confident fills a huge gap. Like girls don't need a super hot guy because we will find a dude attractive as fuck if they are confident and funny. And I mean, obviously nice, and there's other things.
Lucky for
Money
you, I
isn't
have all,
one
I
of
have it
them.
all.
A chick that wants money also wants a hot guy. That's I mean, unless they want an old guy.
Hugh Hefner.
You're right. Yeah. Sorry.
Well,
I didn't mean
okay. Well, there's also a time frame in like phase that everybody goes through where they're purposely putting aside the things that make us all human, and they're just going. Guys and girls do it both, or they just go after the smoke show. It's a notch in the gun belt, notch in the bedpost, whatever you want to call it, and they get out of that phase. Not everybody goes through it, but for the majority, especially coming out of puberty, that's where most people are gearing towards. But I will, to way beyond what mostly men do, women have, I give them a huge credit for the fact that they can tell usually deeper and faster, giggity, whether or not there are those core traits that they are attracted to. Yes, that core. That core.
Yeah.
Mascara. No, just
eyes are watering.
Jesus. No, but it's the idea, like, you see, that really, really just he's hard to look at. And then right next to him is not only this smoke show, but like they're genuinely in love. They have a great relationship. And you're looking in the mirror like, holy shit, do I need to be like uglier? And it's like, no, you just need to be a better person. And,
True. Yeah.
And when that happens, you automatically attract women, not regardless of how you look, because obviously there is, if you see somebody across the bar, and I don't know why you're looking for somebody there unless you're just trying to have sex, but let's continue on with it. And
you might have to have a resume, something
like that. Yeah. If you're just at the bar, obviously, whether or not they're physically attractive is going to catch your eye. But how many times, just to the guys and then also to the girls on complete opposite, how many times have you seen a smoke show? They opened their mouth and you immediately went, nope.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Nope. You were so hot until sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same with dudes though too. Like I'm not.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Some of them are hot, but yeah, like if you get this like super jacked jock dude that's like, he could be a model, and then he opens his mouth and it's like, God damn it.
No, I've known so many guys that I find I can tell that they are attractive, but when they talk and when they act, I'm like, ugh, like I would never want to be with that person, even though I'm like, you'll make great, beautiful babies someday with some other idiot
next to you.
Right, exactly, a beautiful idiot. And that's the part that you don't know until you know the person. Is it's like you have two completely, like those people on Instagram where they are just stupid attractive, they make really hot babies, and it's like, but you don't know if that baby is going to be dumber than a bucket of hair because you don't know what they're like. Like maybe when they both open their mouths, it just sounds like Grog and Ugg in a cave trying to talk about how to get that beer off.
100%. Yeah.
Like,
well, it's
and
like,
then,
like when you see a super attractive person and you find out that they're like uber educated, right? They've got doctorates and fucking bachelor's and master's degrees. You're like, oh shit. It's shocking. Like you're surprised that they're that educated.
Well, that's the thing is like, I was super attracted to her without us even being in the same vicinity for quite a while. It was one of those, I want to lick your brain, not anything else at the moment. I just want to lick your brain because
I want to know your opinion on 9/11.
Talk to me about Tower 7. Yeah.
Oh, did it fall like my pants right now?
So turgid right now.
Did it drop like your eggs?
Welcome to the show.
Holy fucking shit. What an hour.
Holy cow, it has been an hour. To change gears a little bit, because that's a really good, interesting conversation, because a lot of society is losing track of that, because you're in an age now where guys, when they start to get interested in girls and stuff like that, they don't even have to go through that phase of like, oh man, I like her and I want to talk to her, but I don't fucking know. Like, I just want to say hi. And she looked at me and she said I had cool shoes on. Like, now it's just like, swipe right, show me your tits. You know what I mean? It's just, it's fucking whack now. But
happy you don't have to go through it.
I hope experience that giddiness of, his first crush, and we'll go talk to her, dude. Go say hi, go introduce yourself, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But we there they are. They popped.
Good luck. They're already they're going to be already friends on Snapchat before that happened. So my daughter is 16. She's about to be 17. And every boyfriend she has, she's been friends with forever because they've been Snapchat friends for their whole lives since 7th grade. All of them, though. Every single person is all friends with each other on Snapchat. And the worst thing in the world is to be blocked on Snapchat. Like, you don't want to be blocked. Like, they unadded me. Like,
I want everybody
who cares?
right now to go block me on Snapchat.
But there's
Everybody.
no physical contact. Like, you can go up and actually physically talk to someone, sure, but you can also send them 100 snaps and get streaks all the time, and that's their form of communication. The form of communication has drastically changed since when we were children.
You know what I was thinking about, and I was like almost borderline getting emotional about it, was I wish I could go back and raise my kids at the age they're at now in the 90s.
Absolutely.
And they would have such a fucking cooler childhood. So my wife and I were talking about this, like, it was a Friday night. We usually do like a family movie night on Fridays. And I was like, how fucking cool would it be if we were like, oh, we got to load up the station wagon and go pick out a new movie?
I was just talking to Liam about this the other day.
The big brown boat.
Yep.
Yeah, and dude, and I we're fortunate enough to
card. Fuck, I don't
dude.
Fuck yeah,
I'm not dresser.
Right? Did you bring it? No. Okay, well, you just use your phone number then. You know.
Yeah.
But I'm fortunate enough that now we still have a drive-in movie theater where we live.
Awesome.
But that's like the one nostalgic thing from my childhood that they'll ever experience. They won't know, drinking out of the hose because your mom told you if you go back inside, you're staying inside.
In trouble and lock you out.
Exactly. Yeah. Like just the whole being, that age and literally having the world right in front of you. We were able to do whatever we wanted. Yeah, some kids get fucking kidnapped and murdered here and there, but overall it was a good time. You know what I mean?
Well,
not as often as now.
Yeah, we never had to. Well, it's it's so much easier for people to access kids now. You're just talking about Snapchat. That's one of the apps that
locations
that groomers use the most. Well, not only locations, but everything disappears. You know what I mean? So that's the best way for people to groom kids. There was none of that shit when we were younger. You know what I mean? They they had to go through.
We knew the woods. No fucking kidnapper would find me, motherfucker.
Right.
Like, you know where my is? It's like 2 miles back in the woods, up a tree.
And
Fuck you. You're not even gonna find me. But now kids are like, the woods. Ooh, it's dirty in there. I just want to sit in my room and play on my
exactly.
No, and the kids these days, every time I say that, I'm like, oh my god, my dad just came out of my mouth. But it happens.
Yeah,
it is weird though, because back then,
no homo.
I was about to say,
Friday night, we would have to rent a VCR. Like, that's how early 90s this was.
Yeah.
No, not everybody had one. You could rent them. So we'd rent a VCR and rent a VHS tape, not knowing a goddamn thing about the movie. And we're like, well, we're in it now. We rented, we picked this one out, and then you put it in, and you're like, even if I wanted to fast forward, it takes like 15 minutes to fast forward. So I'm just going to watch it.
It's a bunch of different things in little aspects that have progressed. How many followers you have now was the equivalent to how many phone numbers you were able to get at the fucking mall. It's like, oh my god, I got 3 phone numbers at the mall today. I'm not going to call any of them. And then it was like, you not only did you have everything out in front of you that was physical, because yes, there were video games, but the idea of a home video game was so brand new at that time, and it was so different. You had to play it on a 19-inch fucking glass screen with static.
It was like front heavy as a
and you had to rent games.
It was rent games for however many nights and stuff. But it was also the idea, like Jen just said, like, I knew the woods. It's like, yeah, we did. Joe and I knew almost every square inch of our parents' 2 acres, the canyon, all of it. And we also grew up with guns behind the doors.
Yeah.
Most of which were loaded, just not cocked. And like all of those little things add up. I was talking to my dad the other day. I said, it's so funny because now my 10-year-old, he has a phone. And at the time I got him the phone was right when he became aged on base to be able to walk to the school on base, which was over a mile away.
You need to qualify that real quick though, because it's not a real like phone like people would think of now. It's a phone. Like
It's
Like,
a smartphone.
It just makes calls and does text messages.
No. I put one of those pay-as-you-go SIMs in it.
Okay.
And so I told him, don't use it for data. Just do that on Wi-Fi so it doesn't use your minutes up. Because if you run out of minutes, you don't get to walk to school no more.
Right.
So the idea, though, is that I'm like, but back when Joe and I would ride bikes, before they said you had to have a helmet, we would ride to the neighborhood over across the main, 55-mile-an-hour road that my parents lived off of. And we would go right around in the subdivision. And it was an understanding. If you were riding down the street and some old crab ass is mowing his yard and you started fucking around, and he didn't see any other adults, welcome to your new parent.
Yep.
Because he would say, hey, get over here. And if you were going to come over there because there was, and then
it was an adult.
What's your parents' landline number? And then you would give them that number and they would call your parents and say, your kids are fucking up. Come get them. I'm at this address. And then they would come and get you and you'd be in trouble when you got back at home. It was an understanding between the kids and the adults. And I'm not saying it was like this all the time. Like you said, some murders happened. Yeah, kidnap. Yes, that bad shit is always going to happen. But as a kind of social mindset, it was so different. People did, in a lot of ways, look out for the people that were in front of them when they didn't see other people taking care of them.
Yeah, it's the literal concept of it takes a village, and and that's how people just knew each other more often. You know what I mean? Because if you had kids, you needed to know all the other kids' parents. You needed to know their neighbors. You know what I mean? So everybody was keeping an eye out, especially for the kids.
Right?
And that was just the funnest time. There was
it was a double-edged sword because the kids knew that they were doing that.
Exactly. Yeah.
There was this mindset that if your mom and dad were away and you were walking through Walmart and you started fucking around and there was another adult, you knew that adult was going to call you out. And it wasn't like it is today where, one, you can't let your kids go anywhere by themselves. And when you do, and another adult approaches them and you're not there and they start talking to them, you flip the fuck out because you don't know what that person's capable of.
Exactly.
Back then, it wasn't, in my opinion, even being young.
And adults don't flip out anymore because the kids are recording them nonstop. And they're putting them all over social media and be like, check out this Karen. What a bitch.
Exactly.
That's fair. Kids, fair. I'd say kids will also never experience my son might, but what it was like to be on the freeway and have a parent reach over a row of seats to beat ass.
Oh, dude,
you're doing 65 and you're not even pulling over to whoop ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my dad reaching the back. Yeah.
Whopping me in the head and shit. I don't even know if it was probably being sarcastic or something, but he would literally 70 miles an hour down the freeway, reach back and fucking whap.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, and you knew that if dad did that, shit got real because mom was always sitting in the passenger seat. And she wasn't the one driving. So if she wasn't capable of handling it and my dad with his hand on the wheel going 70 had to handle it, you were getting fucking hit. And then at that point on, the whole rest of your drive, even if it's 3 hours, you got zero leeway on anything you did from that point on.
So you sat in perfect silence.
You make one sound. It's
quiet
about over.
Yep. Yeah, that phrase that my mom always used to say would scare the shit out of us was wait till your father gets home. And then you'd fuck around and fall asleep somewhere hiding, and then you'd get dragged out from underneath your bed by your ankles. You're like, oh fuck.
Yep. That happened because my brother and I broke a VCR.
So you could go to your room and then they'd forget that you were in trouble. That happened so many times where they'd be like, you're getting a spanking, go to your room, and you're just sitting there in imminent fear of I know I'm about it. And then an hour later, they still haven't come in, and you poke your head out the door and
by that point, by that point you had started playing Legos quietly, trying to get your mind off of it.
And then they come in.
They come in, and they're so
much
happy.
trouble with my parents. I would come out and I'd be like, "Did you forget about me? Am I still in trouble now?" And they were like, "Yup, you're still in trouble." And I was in trouble twice as much because I shouldn't have even said
That's why I said you sheepishly put your head out the door
no, I didn't sheepishly. I was like, hey, am I still in trouble? Did you guys forget about me? I always questioned what they did when I was young.
You have the right to remain silent. Exercise that right.
Nope. Not when I was little. Now I overcorrected. I did it worse when I was older.
My daughter just goes, am I done? You sit in your room. Dad, am I done? Yeah.
Well, and the funny part is
How
too is
are
that
you?
you saw it a lot with movies. You look at some of the late 80s and early 90s, they portrayed regular people the way that they looked in the
Yeah.
80s and have you ever seen
True.
What About Bob?
Oh yeah.
Like Jesus Christ, he looks like we lived.
Yeah.
Like they showed yards where the bikes were just all over the yard and flipped over, and there were toys and fucking sandcastle
yeah, they had
toys for
kids in
no
apartment
reason.
buildings.
Yeah, they showed how like messy, but not really messy. It was just these things were being used.
Yeah.
And like now it's
Everything
not
was
like
lived
that.
in.
Yeah, everything was lived in. You don't leave your fucking
No, remember
bike
when the
out in your
main
yard now?
character was allowed
Right.
to be ugly? Like the main
Yeah.
characters in a movie were
Yeah,
all
I
unattractive.
missed that.
Don Knotts.
Like not a
Don
one hot
Knotts.
person, or if there's one hot person, that's like the Easter egg. It's like, ooh, wow,
Yeah.
there's a hot chick
That's
in this one.
how
Yeah.
they
Michelle
became hot.
Pfeiffer. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were the hot person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually just recently I ordered the season 1 of a show called Pacific Blue on DVD, and I don't know if you guys remember that one. It's a
Mm-mm.
90s. It's a
I was
90s
gonna say,
show.
is that the Bike Cop show?
The
on
Bike Cop
PSA
show,
channel?
yeah,
I watched
yeah.
that along with Baywatch. Yes.
Yeah.
Yup,
So
sure did.
we're watching it the other night because my wife, she's like, I kind of remember this. I don't. We're watching it, and fuck, it's so 90s and corny. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah, so
"Babe,
bad."
I love. I'm like, tell CERN to stop right here and just let me off, and then keep going. I've reached my destination.
Every year you watch Home Alone just to remind yourself of all the stuff you wanted to do at Christmas that you knew you would get busted for.
Mm-hmm.
Or watching Dennis the Menace from back in the early 90s.
Yep.
And it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
dude, it's so funny how they wrote the script and how the kids were being told by the parents that one, they could just go the fuck over to the old people's house. Just
Yeah.
don't mess with them. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you do that now, you're getting in a whole hell of a lot of trouble. You wouldn't cops get
Cops
called.
show
Yeah.
up, kids
Yeah.
getting taken. Yeah.
It gets ugly really quick now. And I
Yeah.
mean, to be fair, that's actually, for the most part, warranted for a lot of people that
For
I've
a lot
met.
of people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But
It
man,
just
thinking
sucks
about that,
you don't
like,
get that benefit of the doubt anymore.
yeah, thinking about that time period and how I was raised and how much I would love to raise my kids in that time.
Right.
It made me so sad
Yeah.
thinking about, like, they're never going to experience
Mhm.
riding in the back of the pickup truck here,
Yep.
and it's sad, dude.
It's one of those times. Now let's get towards the end of the show here, and I wanted to get your guys' opinions, takes on the leader, supposedly, of the free world with his classified
Crimea?
documents. Putin.
Oh, hey.
Which free world?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Biden.
Are you in
Yeah,
Oregon?
no, I'm talking about Biden. I'm talking about Biden. I'm talking about Biden. His classified documents right next to his.
Where's your
fucking-
home?
It's Corvette. It's in a lock garage, dude.
It's in a
Chill.
lot garage.
Yeah.
Now, I said this on a tavern that I did just the other night and released that see all these like Republican sided pages that are
Mhm.
like, we've got them. I'm like, no, we don't.
Bust 'em, boys.
It just speaks more, in my opinion, to the topic that we've always been talking about, that how corrupt they are. Because
Mhm.
he's not gonna get in trouble. No one's gonna get in trouble. Trump did a similar thing with documents at Mar-a-Lago. We don't know what those are, but they're
And he
not
didn't get in trouble. They
So,
they
yeah.
ended up quitting that, and that's with a media bias leaning the other direction. So Biden's not going to be in trouble.
So
Yeah.
I look at the situation as obviously they're corrupt.
Yeah.
Of course they are. Now stop championing the situation. Like, I mean, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do? Like the leader of the free world has classified documents in his garage. Like, I mean, special.
Where's the
investigation.
FBI?
Where's the FBI in this
shit.
one? I'm like,
We know
they're
where the
waiting
FBI is.
for fucking pistol braces to kick off. Is what? They're
Yeah.
waiting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was curious on what you guys thought about the whole situation.
I'll let
It's
you
just
guys
dumb.
answer.
It's just another one of those fucking things that comes and goes in the media, and everybody makes a big fucking deal about it. And a month later, nobody remembers it even happened until somebody finds a video or something and is like, "Oh, remember that? What happened with that?" And everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know, fucking whatever."
When
Like,
that's a big story, when you know it's going to go nowhere, because we know it's going to go nowhere. If Trump, like Ben said, if Trump didn't get in trouble, he's not going to get in trouble. What is
Yeah.
really happening? We have to I mean,
think they're trying to
we
find
won't
a way
even know.
to-
We're just gonna have to wait and kind of feel it out. But whatever that is bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think as far
Not
as the
something to
actual
pay attention
documents
to.
go or whatever, it means anything, but it could be used as kind of a leverage to get him out of the White House, which is kind of what we talked
That
about.
would be it. That's
what
what they're gonna use.
That's
Not
my
the fact
thought.
that he's completely incompetent.
No, well,
No, they need a hard, solid
And a
reason.
diddler.
they did it with
They-
Cuomo. They did it with Cuomo. They didn't want to go through the muddiness and messiness of trying to, convict this guy of being complicit in the murder of elderly people, having fucking trailers full of bodies from nursing homes. Instead of doing that, we'll just say, hey, this guy, he was flirting with women who were uncomfortable by his advances, and we'll just get him out of office that way. Right? They
Should've
wanted
just
to
worked
put
for
him
the
out of pasture,
Tennessee
but they
Police
didn't
Department.
want to have to go through, fucking all the red tape. So,
All the
in
red
my
tape of
opinion,
murdered people, though. You're just gonna go with.
but
flirting?
you're
lot of
talking
paperwork
about
then.
crazy people, though. You know what I mean? Like these are
Get it.
people who have
Those are our
been
leaders. We need to rise up. Fuck that.
yeah, exactly. These are people who have been telling everyone for the past 3 years, including completely healthy young people, to get vaccinated, and now they're dropping dead.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that that's the way they chose to handle that situation. I think they're doing the same thing with Biden, because if everything was actually, brought to light, he was prosecuted for all of his crimes, it would be bad. Now, this is a
For
simple
both
way.
sides.
Exactly. This is a simple way for them to say, because what they'll do is they'll use the Trump thing. They'll say, well, we went after him even after he was out of office. He's in office. What are we going to do? And all of this, in my opinion, is paving the way for Kamala to finish out the rest of this term with him, and then bring Newsom in and push him for his run for president.
Oh yeah, I think Gavin
Mm.
Newsom is going to be a president at some point for sure.
I
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
hope
100%.
Let's
I
just
hope not either, but just the way he's such a little bitch about it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to do everything. I run California.
Into
Look
the
at me. He's
ground.
like the social justice warrior face
Greasy
of the
motherfucker.
country. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make the state the worst. Do you guys
But
want
he looks like the
leave?
bad guy. You know
He
what I mean?
does.
Like,
He looks
you
like the
can't.
Joker.
American Psycho.
Yeah, you cannot fucking have a Batman villain be the president.
No,
You know
and
what I
he's,
mean? Like,
let's just all say a quick prayer that he doesn't have a JFK accident before.
I do have a kind of different point of view on how this all went with the FBI files. Is
Okay, let's hear it.
prior to, and this has to do with it, but the Twitter buyout by Elon Musk is, I think, that they tried to tag Trump with it and knew that he didn't have anything, but were planning on planting it. And during the course of the investigation, Musk buys Twitter, and I have a feeling that Trump, along with his strong-armed people in his pocket, obviously knew that the president had his own documents, because everybody has blackmail on everybody.
yeah.
So with this and the information on social media getting cracked down on, there was this power play where it was like, well, we can't nab him for the documents, so we're going to do the investigation right before the midterms. We'll try to, push as much of that as we can. We're going to try to censor as much as we can on social media, especially with Elon buying Twitter. And then we're going to make sure right after that, without any word before the midterms, that there's going to be an equal investigation of FBI files on Biden before Trump can release it, so that it doesn't look as bad, and we'll have control of the situation first.
Okay.
I don't think that anything was going to happen to any of them. I think that it was all just a media power play to shift perspective, knowing that the other one was going to get corralled into the exact same thing, and they weren't going to make one of them guilty when they knew there was nothing there, when the exact same thing would happen out of blackmail right after that.
Right.
I don't think that it's for Kamala to pave the way. I think it was all just a press power play that everybody knew wasn't going to happen, because nobody wants to dig out the other person's skeletons all the way.
Yeah.
Because one, they're going to diffuse it to the point, even if it's all true, that the population is split, and there will be just a cascade of retaliation from this person pulling that other person's skeletons out. Now they're pissed off and they pull theirs out, and it just is this chain reaction. And the next thing you know, we're in the exact same place that we are now. Everybody's talking shit and pulling skeletons on everybody. They diffuse everything they can. You don't know what the truth is. And we all know that they're corrupt. And what are we going to do about it? They know nothing.
Lenny, any comments on that? Well said. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I am not hip to current events, what's currently going on. So
That's
I have no
good.
idea
I fucking
other
wish.
than I just
Smart.
current politics, U.S. government, from my perspective, is more or less just a dog and pony show. I don't invest in much
You are
of it
correct.
at all. So I just kind of
Survey says.
don't give a fuck, and people can bicker and twaddle amongst themselves, get passionate about it. Awesome. I hope you find a good cause, and don't really have an opinion because, again, I don't know and I don't care. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Hell yeah.
Bingo. Now, what do you guys think in the closing arguments here for the show about this ATF law, about the pistol brace? I don't know if you guys have AR pistols. I have 2. But see, like, I saw that and everyone's like, here they come. I'm like, you mean to tell me the ATF is going to go to every single person that has an AR pistol's door?
No,
And
this
arrest
always
them?
happens. This always happens when they outlaw shit. They did it with the Poly 80s. They do it all the time. And they tell you, you have 90 days to comply. And everyone goes, suck our dicks. And then they'll show up to your house, or they'll call you, maybe, right? It's like, you might as well fucking buy a lotto ticket, because if they do end up showing up or contacting you and asking you about a purchase that you made, or someone said something, they would still have to get a warrant. They would still have to jump through all the legal hoops. And depending on where you live in this country, if the ATF shows up and they don't have a warrant, call your fucking local police department and they'll draw down on them. And probably
Who shows up at anybody's house or makes a phone call right now? Because I know when people knock on my door, I'm like,
Cops.
how can I be as
Cops
small as
do.
possible? Doesn't have to. Doesn't matter though. I know they're not going to bust down my door because I didn't murder
The ATF
someone.
will. The ATF will, and they'll shoot your dog in the face. Yes,
Yeah,
because
I do have a dog.
They do it often, and that's the thing. They have such an
They start
overreaching
doing that.
jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But they do, and it happens on a yearly basis. There's always a handful where they kicked in someone's door and they shot someone's dog,
Right.
or you know what I mean, over something as simple as a pistol brace. If you have a pistol brace that was
Shout out
originally
Waco.
designed for a disabled person to be able to handle a weapon safely, now they're claiming the pistol brace does the same thing as a bump stock. Anybody that handles a firearm knows that's not true. But the ATF, because they're so liberal in their agenda, they don't give a shit whether you know it or not. They're going to force you to comply by making it a law. You don't have to comply because it's constitutionally irrelevant to whatever they're saying.
Right.
And
it's
it
just putting you
constantly
through the
plays out
ringer.
in court. Exactly. Now, if they press you enough and you just want it to go away, then sure, you'll give up a pistol brace or you know, your automatic rifle or whatever. But if you don't want to, you're going to win. It's going to be very drawn out. It's going to be tiring, and you'll end up out on top. That's what happens every single time the ATF goes to court with someone over something like this.
We have a few of those on local law here in California. If you get a California carry permit, which Joe and I both had, I don't anymore, but one of the things that they tell you is Oakland City do not recognize state permits. So according to city policy and ordinance, if you get pulled over and you have a firearm and you're 10 and 2 and you say, hey, my firearm is in my center console, I have my permit on me, how would you like me to proceed, blah, blah, blah. They will confiscate the weapon. They will not charge you, but they will put you through the ringer to get it back. And the idea is they're going to do it every time without charging you, no legal ramifications, because legally they can't, but by city policy, they have to. And it's a deterrent so that the next time you go through their city, you put a lock on it and separate the ammunition from the firearm and do the things that they're asking you to do. It's the same idea, only you're talking about a whole state versus a federal level. Kentucky,
in Oakland, a super safe place.
Yeah,
just
that's
yeah,
where I would not want to
working
have
out
my
real
gun.
well.
Way
They know what they're doing.
Fine, just take a walk. Even drive
Kentucky
with
as a state had the right idea. I believe it was in 2012, right after Obama got elected the second time, and gun sales went through the roof. And Kentucky, they had started doing a few laws, and it was when New Jersey really fell off the map, where they said, okay, if it's registered to you, you can own your gun, but you will no longer be able to buy ammunition, and you cannot transport your gun. Now, what that effectively did meant that you could go into a gun shop and buy a gun, but there was no legal way to get it home. So they completely stripped you of not your right to bear arms, but pretty much
kind of the right to bear arms.
Right. So what Kentucky did was, when all of this was happening, Massachusetts was the same way. They completely cracked down, and those states are small enough that they actually have the ability to enforce these very California-istic laws, whereas California is so massive, there's no way that they're going to actually be able to implement these gun laws to its fullest. New Jersey's small.
Most of the cops, at least up here, totally agree
100%
with what you're talking about. And they're actually, I got more cops saying, thank you for having a CCW. We appreciate that.
We appreciate you being able to defend yourself rather than us having to get called and see your dead body, or having to do it for you and put our own lives. If you know how to do it yourself before we get there, yeah, we would prefer that. So what Kentucky did was, when they started doing this on a federal level, Kentucky put up signs on their borders to the main interstates that said, if you are a federal officer trying to impose the new federal gun laws within Kentucky, our local law officials will arrest you and detain you until it's time for you to go home, essentially. And I was like, see, they're playing the same game. They obviously know that they can't prosecute these federal agents, but they're doing that same every time deterrent to just make them go, fuck it, it's not worth it in Kentucky anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of sheriff's departments, especially here in Southern California, where they say all the time, you know, we're not going to enforce those laws. I think there was I want to say 10 different jurisdictions in Illinois that said they won't recognize their state's new gun laws either. So there are ways for, you know, certain officials to stand up and protect their citizens. It's just they don't always do it. You know what I mean?
Local government is really important. When we saw during COVID, our local county sheriff said, and our local PD, so for the city and the county, both the sheriff's department and the local PD issued statements saying, we are not going to enforce mask wearing unless it is what's it called, private company policy. Thank you. Unless it's company policy, because that's their right. They're not telling you that you have to shop there and you have to wear a mask. They're saying, if you choose to shop here, you must wear a mask. That's our policy. If you don't like that, you can go shop maskless somewhere else.
Exactly.
And as a result of that, California, because obviously we were very cracked down in California, was that Newsom basically lobbied to Shasta County and a lot of the counties that were up here that were flipping the bird to him. He said, if you do not enforce this, we will take away your emergency funding.
Yeah.
And that was now their power play. And it got to a point where we had a big old recall up here of our local officials. We fucking won, because everybody that was there was like, get some fucking balls and say, we don't give a shit about your emergency funding. Not in the COVID relief anyway. Like, and if you're going to take it all away, fine, we'll take care of ourselves.
Yeah, we were doing just fine before that. So, you know, if you're not recognizing any shutdowns and you don't enforce any mask wearing or anything like that, then you don't need the funding, because your economy is doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? And it'll take care of itself. I mean, you know, everyone knows Newsom was still forcing winery distribution companies that he worked with to work, even though they were supposed to be shut down in their cities. You know what I mean? So and
money.
It's
when he put out the video of being energy efficient, and during this last summer he put on this idea of making sure that you don't have your temperature set too low. While he was making the video, he was clearly in an office that was chilly while he had his 2 jackets on. And everybody pointed out, they're like, oh, okay, so you want us to get heat exhaustion while you make the video about that wearing a jacket inside your cozy little room temperature office. Go fuck yourself.
What a fucking guy.
That's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Now, luckily, I actually live in a state that's constitutional carry, so I don't need
I
a permit
love it.
for anything.
I mean, no one really needs a permit, you know?
You know what I'm saying, dude? Don't ask, don't tell.
That's why I left my laws. I was like, dude, in these days, I don't need a permit. If I'm gonna carry, I'm just gonna fucking carry and let's not be stupid, you know?
Yeah.
Which is hard.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying.
So far, so good.
You know, it's that meme that's been floating around recently. I've seen a lot of it. Of like, of course, I'm a free American. I have all the licenses and permits to prove it.
Yeah.
Of course, I believe in gun control. I use both hands.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, guys, let's go ahead and wrap the show. We're at an hour and a half from the Legit Bat Cast. What's going on with you guys? Any new shows coming out? What's going on?
Yeah, usually about 2 a week, just depending. I don't remember what the schedule looks like, but we had a big year in 2022, a lot of big guests. So there's always the back catalog, but we try to keep pushing forward and find, you know,
every Thursday and Sunday we do shows, except for this week because we're doing one on Monday.
Yeah, that reminds me. Send me the file. I'll put it out on our feed if that's cool too.
Yeah, of course.
Heck yeah. Spread it like butt cheeks.
Spread it like
Hell yeah.
cheek buster, man. Cheek buster.
Well, I will never think of sharing an episode the same ever again. So that's good.
Spread it
I'm
like
gonna
butt
be thinking of Boya's butt cheeks because
There
he
you
said
go.
it.
Yeah.
Spread it like
They're great.
butt cheeks.
They're great.
Or
They're
real
His butt cheeks
coronavirus.
are a 3 on a good day, like dressed up going to a wedding.
Just his butt cheeks are still hotter than Megan Hall.
Better, Megan Hall.
word.
Yes, thank you. I want to know.
I'd rather motorboater's butt cheeks than her.
All right.
That's a wrap. I'm done with that.
Yeah, I think we're done. That's it.
You know,
All right.
I want to say 2 weeks ago, Ghost texted me and was like, "Hey man, are you down to be on the tavern this weekend? Talk at the tavern." I said, "Yeah, for sure." And he's like, "Cool, man, it's a date." And then I sent him like a meme, but I sent him a GIF, and I just typed in the GIF search bar. I just typed in "gay love," and I found the gayest one I could find. And sent it to him.
That's an iffy search.
So
Yeah.
I didn't know he is like one of the few people I've met who's like, "Oh, I don't fucking care. The
No.
gloves are
Oh,
off."
yeah.
So then he sends one back. Now you guys know that
Oh,
picture
God.
of Big Al, the
Yep.
big black dude sitting on the edge of
Yeah,
his bed.
Oh
So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
the classic.
I took a screenshot of that, and then over his fucking 2x4, I like, you know, the gorilla photos of us, Boya.
Yeah.
I put the gorilla photo of me where his cock was, and I sent that to him, and then he sent back just a black dude getting 2 dicks in his butt, and I was like, "I'm done.
I lose.
I
So
lose."
he found the
Oh,
line.
yeah, this is so awesome. We
Ghost
love
is
Down
it.
the
all.
line.
Yep, you do
Cross the
fucking
line.
lose.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "Dude, at least mine was like censored. Holy shit!"
Ghost doesn't give a shit. I fucking love that guy.
He's like, "Are we done or?"
Yeah, I was like,
Shall we continue?
I just sent him a video of a white flag. Please, Jesus Christ.
That's all.
I lose.
Too far, bro.
Well, yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be sure to link your show in the show description, and we're gonna close out the show tonight on a fun note, and that is by saying that I think that the world may not seem that it's getting better. I think it is, and how I've actually came about accomplishing that. I've just started living my life more along the lines of pretending like the system that is actually influencing and making decisions around us just no longer exists. And I encourage you all to do that. Your life will go so much better. Pretend the ATF, the FBI, CIA, the US government, Ukraine, just pretend it doesn't even exist anymore.
They
Yeah.
very well might not at this
Yeah.
point.
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say the Who exists. What?
Bingo.
I got you.
You're doing it, Peter.
It's working. It's working.
Oh my god.
All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Whiskey Beer and Conspiracy Podcast. I've been Big Country,
Oh boy.
and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.